Tommy Torbert, and it's just like some really epic vocalists, and it's basically like it's like it's about it's like Queen's Gambit level of like chess nerdery,
Right.
but like it's more about like politics, but it's also about this like extramarital affair and how that affects the game, and it's like between the US and the USSR, so it's
Sounds
like that.
good.
It is really good. Yeah.
Well, look, if the world opens up again, if you're ever in New York, I have connections for Broadway tickets because of my job, so I can get Broadway tickets usually if for New York. So
Oh,
That's
if
dope,
if the world opens up again,
my brother is actually a Broadway producer, so
oh,
I already
you're
have that
good.
hooked up.
You're good. You're
But
already good.
he only answers my calls like 1% of the time though, so I might have to hit you up instead, and then
Please do. Please
like
do.
surprise him at a show.
Please do. Yeah, I don't get a chance to see a lot because I don't go to New York all that often. But I have seen a few plays in New York, but more stuff.
some
Hello,
audio.
check,
Hello,
check,
hello, hello.
check. Some audio, some audio.
Anton, check off.
That was a good one.
Thank you. Oh, all right. Well, shit. In that case, let me check one last thing here. Make sure we're recording on the YouTube. Boom, boom. All right. Good evening and welcome to another exciting episode of Goth Yearbook After Hours. Is I your host, as always, Eric, aka the Eric Wynn, and with us, as always, is that hostess with the mostest, Caitlin D, aka the Caitlin D. I fucked it up because I was looking at something and I was not paying attention. I've done this intro
What did you fuck up?
60. I always say the hostess with the mostest, Caitlin, aka the Caitlin D. And I just started, I was broken. I started just going, Caitlin D.
Well, hello. It's me.
Yeah, this is very much like where my brain's been at all day. It's been an incredibly busy year for myself at my day job, and out of nowhere in the last week, we went from being just one of the busiest my company has ever been to being absolutely just like nothing going on, like phones not ringing, no emails, nothing, and there's no like transition at all, and it's left me in like the weirdest state this week. Like I feel very just off my game completely. I think because sometimes I rely on like the busyness of my job to kind of keep me focused in a certain way, and right now I just feel like I've been like sleepwalking all week. But
well, it's just like a change in reality and consciousness.
Yeah.
I actually saw something today on Reddit that was like, I forget who it was, but it was some scientist that wore glasses that made the world appear upside down for like a few days straight. And then when he took them off, his vision had changed so that everything looked flipped upside down.
Oh, shit.
So our perception is a tricky little bitch.
Yes, it is. And just like the there when there's such a shift in energy in the air around you that you're so used to, that almost it becomes like just like static in the background, and all of a sudden the energy just shifts like so suddenly, like you feel it like inside, like it fucks up like your whole entire rhythm of your what you're used to, what you've been kind of like running off of for so long. So I apologize ahead of time because I'm probably going to be a little bit of a space cadet all evening, but I'm going to try to get my shit together in real time. How are you
That's
doing?
okay. I'm good. I was thinking before we came on about how I just like along the lines of because we discussed briefly, I had like the the ghost of Nelson Mandela who resets my computer clock every once in a while, which is a whole long story I won't go into. But along the lines of like weird paranormal EVP stuff, um, I told you about this, I think over text, but I don't think we ever hit it on the show. And I do want to bring it up just because it's creepy. And I want to know from our listeners if there's anybody out there who's had an experience like this. And I also I keep wanting to tell Ashley and Lauren from the Keep It Weird podcast about it too. But I was recording like several days ago some music on my computer and my monitor was on. So I could hear like my vocals, feeding back in the microphone. And I could hear like breathing in the microphone. And I was
Oh yeah, you
like,
did tell me about that. Oh,
yeah, and I was trying to figure out if it was like some weird like effect or something that I had on it, but I like turned everything off, all the effects off, all the compression, echo, like everything. And I was like holding my breath and then I was like, do I just not know how to breathe or like how to hold my breath or something because I kept hearing it and then I was like I I felt like I was going insane and I actually had to like leave the room. And go get some fresh air because it was scary. And I think it was like in the middle of the day too, but it just made it even more creepy, because I
right.
was just like it just sounded like
That would fuck with me. I would not be into that whatsoever.
I didn't like it. And I was
Yeah.
home alone for a week because my roommate was out of town, which I was like reluctant to say last week on the podcast because I was like, what if someone who wants to murder me listen to the podcast?
Yeah.
And I feel like someone who would want to murder me probably does listen to the podcast.
Yeah.
But at the time I was all scared because I was like, what if someone's like under my fucking bed or something, and it just freaked me out.
That would fuck me up, man. There's something creepy about the like when there's like weird interference or like when technology gets fucked with in that way. That's why this whole Mandela effect that's been haunting both you and I this year has like really, man, it spooks me. It gets me a little rattled because there's something like about it like bouncing around like your different technologies like no man is safe.
Yeah, I mean, I know I always bring this up, but it always reminds me of that one X-Files episode where like the
Yeah.
technology is like kill him
Yeah.
and like telling people to murder or telling that one woman to murder people
I mean,
or something.
when I'm
Anyway,
looking
so
at
that's
through
that's what's going
Instagram,
on
I
with
feel
me.
like it's I feel like going through Instagram it makes me it's like telling me to murder. So I get it.
Or I've just become so alienated from the rest of society and isolated because, unlike you, my job has been very on and off. At no point have we been busy. My client base basically just evaporated this whole week. And now, thank you, just government, for keeping so many non-essential businesses open so that we can't actually apply for unemployment or receive unemployment benefits, but we do still have to like either go to work and not my basically I like, made money based on how many clients I have. And right now it's like my schedule is open for the whole week. I had one client this week. So it's like it's pretty extreme and crazy. And I'm coping by basically reading every book that's been sitting on my shelf for the last 5 years. Uh Doing a lot of napping with Prince. I've walked like 7 miles in the past 2 days. Um, so if anyone is hiring,
I did like I did like a I did like a Robert De Niro face when you said that. You're like, I did 7 miles in the last 2 days. I was like, hmm,
very good.
7 miles.
Yeah. So I don't know, but I also know that like so many people are in this boat, and I know we've talked about this, but I just think it's really pathetic and sad that like our country has just shown its true colors so blatantly in this whole pandemic. Just that like human life does not mean as much as like the dollar to, people that already have enough, basically. And I always said like people were like, oh, like there's got to be a shutdown before Christmas because flu season, it's getting cold, blah, blah. And I've like this whole time, I was like, I seriously doubt it because that's when a lot of retailers and a lot of companies make most of their profits for the year. And so, like, yes, will a lot more people die? Totally. Is everything going to close? Absolutely not. So
Right.
it's like a lot of mixed messages, and it's just really sad. And I can't say I'm surprised, but I am disappointed. I'm a disappointed citizen right now, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I like I was saying right before we went on, like it is. I do feel kind of cliched saying this, but it's just this year has been so eye opening. We've all known that, as you called it before we went on, that we lived in a capitalist hellscape. But it's just so, god damn, it's so eye opening just to be like, wow, like, I mean, you are literally being sent to the fucking wolves, basically, to satisfy what, like the almighty dollar. Like we were just sending people, out to be fucking slaughtered, so to speak, all
Mhm.
for, what exactly? It's some bullshit.
It
Um,
is.
but on a fun note,
Woo!
Kitten Parade is back in. No, I did want to say before we do a little bit of announcements and before we do announce our guests, everyone's doing like their end of year Spotify Unwrapped shit. And by the way,
I
like
knew you were gonna bring that up.
I was gonna bring
I
up
don't
our
know why.
podcast stats,
Oh, cool.
because more so, I wanted to say that like I looked it up because it said like, oh, you guys have recorded or released this many minutes, and it when I broke down the math, because for those who are watching or listening at home, on top of all the after hour episodes that you've ever seen, there's all the Patreon episodes, patreon.com/Goth Yearbook After Hours. Go check it out. And Caitlin and I used to record a shit ton of just like extra stuff just to record to get in the habit of recording and to like find our rhythm the first couple months, like a lot. Like we'd record every single night. Back when we were doing every show every night, we would then on top of that record like a couple more hours late into the evening, like 1 o'clock in the morning. And so I did the math, Caitlin, and we've done 7 full fucking days of. We have been recording for 7 full days. If you break it down, we've
Oh.
been talking nonstop for 7 consecutive days without sleeping. If you want to break it down that way, so you'll
It
never get
it
that time back, buddy. But
yeah. It honestly feels like more than that. I'm
true. It cracked me up though, like a full fucking week of just nonstop chatter.
Yeah, sometimes I feel like we're flying an airplane together or something, because I think it's just because of the way the headphones look, and then like
Roger
sometimes
that.
I'll I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with this metaphor, but that's cool. And I want to thank everyone who, like, our listeners are super cool, and I love you guys who, especially like those of you who reach out and asked us questions and tell us your stories and leave us voicemails and buy our merch. And you know we are so grateful for you guys, and you mean the world to us. And I have been very lucky to have this show to keep me from going crazy. I've met so many cool new people,
Yeah, absolutely.
um been introduced to so much more music than probably I've listened to in my entire lifetime. And I haven't taken this many personality quizzes since I was like 15 years old and had a subscription to YM and Teen Magazine. So
True. So
all
for
good things.
for that, thank you guys. Good night. Nah,
Yeah.
just kidding. Before we introduce our guest, I do want to again shout out. Please,
Yearbook wrapped.
please check out the patreon.com/Goth Yearbook After Hours. And right now, Caitlin, you didn't see, but next week, friend of the show, Lissa Rose is going to be on. She is a representative of Food for Thought. Food for Thought is a local charity up here in organization, I should say, here in Sonoma County. And right now, today, December 3rd, they have a thing going on right now, fundraiser called Dining for Your Life, I believe is what it's called. And it fills up the pantry for a lot of people that are in need here in Sonoma County. A lot of people who are affected by HIV, who don't usually get access to a lot of food-based organizations because they don't fit certain criteria. And Food for Thought is like, fuck that. We see you guys and we want to help you. So because of that, we want to help them. So if you go to our Instagram at Goth Yearbook and hit the link tree, it's the very first link on there, and go and donate.
Awesome. Yeah. And I just want to note for our listeners that like we actually talked about doing for the month of December, like a few featured guests like tonight, like musical guests as usual, but also we did want to feature some local community organizations that are reaching out to counteract the like capitalist terrorism that is happening to
Yes.
our communities, because we have, we talked so much about like what sucks. We also want to highlight what's good, and put our money where our mouths are. And like, I think it's very important, especially in December when so many people are in need and there is so much like crushing consumerism going on, to remember to give back. And we both think that giving back locally is really important, because affecting your direct community has like a really profound impact on your own life and the lives of people around you. And it also, I think, in a time where so many people are feeling really powerless and helpless, it does just feel good to give back and to like help people out who have less than you. And if everyone did that, we'd probably be through the pandemic by now.
Amen, sister. With all that being said, and also please feel free, while you're on that link tree, stop on by that Patreon link and cut yourself some extra bonus Goth Yearbook After Hour episodes. With all that being said, I think it's time to say hello to our guests this evening, who they took the time to both mute their audio and their video. So Spencer Robinson, right there on the video, so funny to like roll you out as it says like in big letters, Spencer Robinson's like, who could it be, guys?
I could have done like a coming soon header, or something very stupid.
I do want to say real quickly, this is Spencer Robinson of the bands Spencer Robinson and the Wolf Spiders and Black Market Heart. Please welcome to the show, Spencer Robinson. Spencer Robinson, how you doing?
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me, you guys.
Eric is just like saying everyone's name like 20 times. It reminds me of when I went on a date with someone and they got a concussion on the date.
They're like, Caitlin.
You went on a date and someone got a concussion. We might talked about this like the very first month of the show, but I might need to hear this again. What?
Yeah, sorry, Spencer. I don't mean to step on your intro.
I kind of want to hear
Yeah.
also, so it's really fine.
Okay. Whoa, sorry. I just accidentally turned off my light.
Yeah,
it was. I have the best worst date story. Like, if anyone is ever like, "Oh, what's the worst date you've ever been on?" I'm like, "Oh, it's mine." Because I basically was. It was, first of all, it was this guy who was a mutual friend of my friends at the time. I was in my early 20s. So this is like a decade ago, and he was a magician, which, no shade, but
I mean, you've already won worst date at that point, so
yeah, it does add that extra layer of like, oof. And I had realized we had like one date at the Magic Castle and we like made out, and I was like, that's probably all I'm getting out of this, just like making out with the magician at the Magic Castle. And like at that point, once you like aren't stoned anymore, it stops seeming cool. And so I was like gonna break up with him, but this was before I had any concept of ghosting. Like the term ghosting wasn't even around. So I was like, I'm gonna, like go on a last date with him and just like talk to him like a person. And little did I know that like that's just not necessary, and you actually really shouldn't do that, because that leads to like a lot of like fucked up situations. So our last date, quote unquote, was supposed to be, it was like a group date. So I was like, oh, this will be fine. It's like his friend's birthday party at an ice skating rink. So I'll just like kind of like meet people and skate, and like it'll be super casual and chill. And we hadn't gone out that many times. We get there and he was like, oh, like I wanted us to come an hour early before the party so that we could have like a romance skate date. And I was like, oh no, okay. So like
couples only on the rink.
Yeah, and he kept trying to like hold my hand, and I kept like, woo.
Whoops. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Catch
And
me if you
like
can.
yeah, and at one point he just like went for it and I dodged it like fucking like we were playing hockey or something, and he just slams into the ice and like smashes his face open. And it was his skull, and his face just broke, and like it was like medics on the ice. Everybody had to stop. There was everywhere. And we like got off the ice, and the fucking medics were just like, all right, well, you made it off the rink, so back to business as usual. And that's when his friends started showing up, and I was like, hi, nice to meet you. I think he's dying, possibly. And this poor fucking guy, every like 60 seconds, he would be like, well, at first he was like, I'm sorry, just like, can you explain to me what happened?
No.
And I was like,
that fucks me up to hear.
and he had just this like very like glazed look in his eye, and he's like swelling, and he's like, can you just explain to me what happened? So I explained, and literally like as soon as I finished explaining, he was like, I'm sorry, I probably already asked you this, but what happened? And I was like, oh boy. So I took the keys to his fucking mother's car, and I like hobbled him out and was like, bye friends, I might have just killed this guy. And we like put him in the car. I drove him to the emergency room. And now, and like literally every 60 seconds, he is asking me what happened in the exact same way. Hey, I know I've probably already asked you this, like all embarrassed and polite, but what happened? Like, could not remember. And 4 hours in the emergency room of like the waiting room, the doctor's office. The doctor keeps calling me his girlfriend, and so he's giving me this look of like he has no idea what we're doing there, but he knows that like I'm there with him,
Oh boy.
And I was just like, how do I get the fuck out? But I was like, I can't just leave him at the emergency room with a concussion.
I mean, you could have.
Yeah, I was gonna say I could have.
I absolutely could have, but I'm just like I'm a patient and nice person, and so I lasted I think it was like a total of 6 hours, and then finally at the end of the night I dropped him off at his mom's house, and I drove his car to my house, and I put his keys in my mailbox, and I never spoke to him again.
Damn.
I feel like the moral of the story is dump people sooner.
It is. It's ghosting is fine. It's ghosting is less dangerous than the alternative.
I had a buddy. I wasn't there, but like a good friend of mine got concussion, and my friend said that's exactly what he did. Like not just like that he kept asking, but that he'd ask it in that sort of like, you guys, I'm sorry, like I know like this is like weird, but like what happened? Like when you said that, that's exactly what he did. And every single time I like picture that, like I don't know why that like really fucks me up more than like the idea of like slamming, it's like breaking your skull open and a bunch of blood coming out. Like the fact of like your brain getting tousled enough where you keep like you're on like that repeat mode. That fucks me up.
I had a friend that got a concussion once. I mean, this is a million years ago, and it just so happens that as he was getting a concussion, me and a few other friends were on mushrooms. So he came to us to for asking for help. So we were the blasted out of our mind, fucking crazy, high as fuck people, taking him into the emergency room, trying to deal with it, as he was passing out and falling into the wall and the whole thing. It was interesting.
There's a couple times where I was on shrooms where that might have like I might have like really excelled in that moment. Like there have been like a couple shroom trips where like I felt just like really like I was like a life coach and hyper focused, and I feel like not the driving them there probably like that would have been a little too like adventurous, but I feel like
I did the driving thing. I mean, I'm not happy to admit it, but I did it. I mean, I did it well, like nobody died, but yeah, I did the driving thing.
You're like, well, actually those 3 people I'm in, but
no, I feel like it's probably safer to drive on mushrooms than it is with a concussion, so I think that's the right choice. Yeah, I would say it was scary the first hour when he kept asking the question, and by hour 6 I just wanted to actually finish the job and just kill him. Like it was so annoying.
What's the worst injury either of you have ever received?
Spencer?
I mean, I've been punched in the face a few times. I guess probably punched in the face. I haven't had that many terrible injuries. I don't know.
Have you ever been like cold cocked like straight to the nose or from the side?
Like in the eye, in the side of the head.
It's always like that side of the eye. If you get hit there, that's like that really fucks you up. It hurts. Actually, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't feel good, but I never had my nose broken. I guess I'm lucky in that way.
Same here. Yeah, I've never broken a single bone in my body besides my pinky toe.
Oh, well, aren't you a fancy boy?
What about you, Kaylin? You ever fucking?
Yeah, actually, later that same year.
I thought you were gonna say that night.
It was.
I went back to the roller rink.
Yeah, I just slammed my head into a wall. No, I fell off a bike and I got a pretty bad head injury. later that year, and I like slept for 14 hours, and I'm pretty sure I had a concussion the next day
Oh,
because
fuck.
I immediately, without thinking, and like I never usually get up, and I missed work. It didn't even occur to me to go to work that day. And I had broken in. I was drunk when I fell off my bike, and I wasn't wearing a helmet. And yeah, I had like just moved into this place. It was ground level, and my keys had fallen out when I fell off the bike, and so I like took a pen out of my purse and like ripped a hole in the screen window, and then climbed through the window, and then just slept like a rock for
Fucking
14
Rambo.
hours. And yeah, and I woke up the next evening, and I was like, I'm gonna take a bike ride because my head is killing me, and like I think I need some weed. So I rode my bike to the weed store without looking in the mirror once, which I would never normally do. And like all I could think about was riding my bike. And people kept looking at me really weird, and my head was just killing me. And I was like, why are people looking? And when they were selling me weed, they looked like they were gonna call the cops on me or something. I was like, what's going on?
This is like
And
a
then I
scary
looked,
story
I
to
like
tell the
finally
dark
caught
story.
I finally looked at myself in the mirror, and I was like, oh fuck. It looked like I was like a fucking walking zombie.
Oh,
Like there
shit.
was just blood like running down my face. And I like hadn't felt it, nothing. And then I got home,
Just
and I
at
was
the
like
dispensary, like,
it's like, thank you.
yeah.
Yeah, when I got home, yeah, I was like the person that like the other people in the dispensary were like not wanting to sit next to, you know. When I got home, I looked in the mirror. I was like, I'm not gonna look in the mirror again until I take a shower. It's probably just dirt. It's probably not that bad. And then I took a shower, and I looked in the mirror. I just started crying because like my left eye was swollen shut, and my
Fucked up.
cheek was starting to turn black because there was just blood pooling in the cheek, and like my whole, like I basically had like a big road burn like under right here. And so it was pretty bad. I went to and so I was like, I'm gonna ride my bike to the emergency room, and I did. I rode my bike to the urgent care first, and of course nobody even looked me in the eye for like an hour and a half.
Classic
And then
urgent care.
yeah, and then the doctor finally came in the room, looked at my chart for a while. He was like, "Oh, you have a head injury, blah, blah, blah." And then when he finally looked up at me, he just put the chart down. He's like, "There's an emergency room 2 blocks away. Go and get a CAT scan like right now." And I was like, "Oh no, I'm gonna die." And
Whoopsie.
yeah, and then I went, and honestly, I don't really remember what happened. I was just there for a really long time, and then I don't think I even got billed for it or anything, because I just remember walking
Nice.
out and being like, "Well, that was useless." And I was not right for a few months after that.
More like a few years, am I right?
I still might be fucked up from that. Wear a helmet.
So before we went on the show, Spencer, we were quickly going into. I was checking the levels, so I didn't quite hear, but you have a history with Broadway. You and Caitlin were kind of talking about what. How did
No, not a history of Broadway. So my day job, the job that I do for many years, I represent actors and writers for television and film. So, and Broadway is like a small little part of that, right? Like, we
Right.
deal with it a little bit, but yeah, no, I deal with the television and film industry pretty much all day, every day.
Is that a lot of? I can't imagine all the egos, and you have to
A lot of egos. Look, but you know what though? I feel like there's egos everywhere. You know what I mean? I maybe the difference is that people are allowed to kind of have bigger egos and mouth off and yell and scream a little more. I think that's maybe the only difference. I think corporate America has plenty of fucking egos. I mean, like,
Very true.
I work in the construction. I work adjacent to the construction industry, and man, that is some
Right.
fucking ego going on there. A lot of guys who like, it's like their own little operation that they've had, like 3-man operations since like the 80s or 70s, and they're like, "Don't you know who I am?" Chomping on fucking
Right.
cigars and shit.
Really, it's the same thing. The only difference is that they're making movies instead of building whatever they're building. It's,
Right.
there's a lot of "Don't you know who I am," and there's a lot of "I get this because of who I am." But I don't think that it's specific to the industry that I work in. I think that it's every
True.
industry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've worked at restaurants where managers had that attitude, you
Right.
know? So it's like,
Common denominator, men.
men. No, there's a lot of.
It's
No,
it's everybody.
everybody.
Yeah,
It's everybody. I mean, I think that it you could say that people at the top, like people that are really rich, are like that, and like that's definitely true. But then there's people that are just like a manager at a restaurant who's just like a little bit above where you are, and they're just gonna flex that as hard as they can.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, even if like you're a hostess and they're a waiter, you
Right.
know,
Yeah.
or it's like
The pecking
And
order of the world is just alive
you
and
just
well.
Yeah, you just give people a little bit of power, and
Right.
they just turn into monsters.
I mean, before I signed on, you guys were talking about the pandemic and whatever, and like it's like, you know, I'm a little bit above you, so I'm gonna fuck you in the ass while you die, and like that's the way
Right.
it's gonna be, and you're like, cool, great. And so that's every industry.
Yeah,
Thanks,
and
mister.
like we just have this like we're taught exceptionalism in America, like the rules just don't apply to us. And it's like even like people that I love and respect are still doing stuff that is just like totally counterproductive to like stopping the spread of COVID-19. And it's just really frustrating because it's so deeply ingrained in our mentality that it's like, oh, the rules are for other people. They
Right.
do not apply to me because this is an inconvenience for me.
My favorite COVID like person or personality is the people that are like, oh no, I'm being really careful. I'm having a party with 50 people in my one bedroom apartment, but we're
Yeah.
socially distancing. It's my absolute favorite person because you're like, that is not possible, but they're gonna keep it. They believe it, and that's the way it's gonna be.
Yeah. No, I also really I I'm not trying to like be a total bitch, but I've also like had friends that like they'll, be like, "Oh, we're socially distancing with masks." And then they'll post photos of them like this close with their masks on,
Yeah.
and I'm like, "Bitch." Like just don't, just don't. But it's I get it. It's really hard. Humans are social creatures and we're
Yeah.
not used to this. There's no guidebook, and our leadership has been non-existent. So I
Well,
What
that's
leadership?
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, that is the. I know we've probably talked about this on the show, but that's like the whole fucked up part about this is how we turn on each other. And there's like, again, goes back to the pecking order. We all peck on each other, and really the reason why it's so fucked up is because of leadership. Is because of like who shepherded us into this and like how they decided to handle the situation. And yeah, we just turn on each other rather than like shouting to the top and, as Caitlin would say, taking to the streets.
Right. And, once again, everyone's a hypocrite to some extent
Yeah.
because I know I've had my moments where I've been, I've let my walls down, or like I've gone out to bars when they were open and gotten drunk and totally like let someone hug me that I wasn't comfortable with, or, made out with someone that I was comfortable with but didn't know before that night.
Yeah.
Like it was not, it's like it's so hard to like cope with all these new rules like all the time. But I do think in general, like, we all have to just make as much effort as we can.
Definitely.
Anyway,
We
this
got
is
some
not the
voicemails.
COVID-19 podcast.
We got some voicemail. I don't know why.
It's
I
going to
attempt
be
to keep doing
so
that.
annoying in a few years to listen to podcasts from this year and just be like, will they ever fucking stop talking about
Yeah, no shit.
the pandemic?
Well, I mean, wait till the fucking 2009 or 2029. Jesus, I know what year it is. I swear. Like whatever the next awful thing is that we're all gonna be talking about in a few years.
Yeah.
But Spencer, we got
yes.
some. Oh, what were we gonna say? Sorry.
No, I was gonna say COVID 29 or whatever.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
gosh.
Just gonna
The
be
return.
more pandemics.
It like gets a little bit like goofier each time, like the return of COVID.
Or like, we haven't been outside in 3 months because the air is unbreathable. How's your pod doing? And pod will now mean like the pod you have to live in to survive.
Right. All right.
Fun.
Let's play this.
Hi, this question is for Spencer. If you could have a drink with any rock star at any point in history, who would it be?
Any rock star, any point in history.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
Any drink.
I mean, the drink's
Ooh.
the drink's whiskey. The drink's always whiskey. That's the drink.
Is that what is that what's tonight's concoction?
That is what's tonight.
I thought it was
absolutely.
lemonade. It looked very. I saw like a.
I mean, lemonade is very good, but no, it's not lemonade. I mean, look, I think that if you're gonna go for a rock star drink, like there are like punk rock bands that I would like to drink with. But if you're gonna go for a rock star, you go for like Keith Richards. I mean, that's who you drink with.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's who you drink with.
Someone who, like he's just a good drinking buddy, and he just seems like he has fucking stories for days.
Right. I mean, come on. Like, I mean, yes, I would love to hang out with the Circle Jerks. I would love to hang out with Black Flag, and I would love to talk to the Bad Brains. Sure, but like, it's Keith Richards.
Yeah, the first place that my mind went to is like Lux Interior, like rest
Sure.
in peace.
But
like,
I've
he
already
wouldn't
hung out
be-
with them, so it's okay. I've already done
What?
it.
Oh, hold on. let's talk about that real quickly. What was
Well,
that
I mean,
like?
I toured with the Cramps. I did a West Coast tour with them. So
Was this with the Lords of Altamont back in the
It was,
day? Or,
yeah.
oh my gosh,
was,
what
yeah.
was that like? I mean, this was later years. I'm assuming. Do you know what year that would have been?
I'm guessing it was 2004, 2005, somewhere in there. I don't remember the exact year. Somewhere in there.
Yeah. Well, just any fun, memorable moments from that tour out of curiosity?
I mean, look,
massive Cramps fan.
Look, I'm a huge Cramps fan too. It sounds silly, but really just being able to watch them every night.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like Lux was really quiet and lovely and nice, but very quiet. And Ivy is lovely and nice and a little less quiet, but they're both very gracious and they're great. And the guys that I played in the band with were friends with them for many years before I was in the band.
Right.
And so it was a really great experience. But just playing for the crowds every night was awesome, but watching the Cramps play every night was better. You know what I mean? It was really cool.
Yeah, and I have like a top 3 like all-time favorite like lead people, which is like him. What's his? I'm blanking on his fucking name right now, but what's his name from the Jesus Lizard? And the lead guy from Piss Jeans. But like just people who like really like have absolutely like no concern for themselves or the crowd, or just like really go all out. And so I could totally imagine how like off stage he's
Lux
like
is
so
amazing.
so
every
like
night.
quiet and like like all of it gets kind of like left out there sort of thing.
Yeah, incredible every night. Really amazing.
I can't fucking imagine.
Yeah, I was really lucky. I got a chance to tour with and play at festivals with some really great bands when I was in the Lords. Like mostly in Europe, a little bit in the U.S., but mostly in Europe.
That's incredible.
I mean, like we got a chance to like open for the Who in Switzerland. Like it's like stupid. It's just stupid. You know, it was absurd. But yeah, really cool.
Caitlin, did you? I feel like we might have done like a similar question recently, and I might know your answer. But who would you be?
Who would I have it? I've heard that Dolly Parton is like a real party. I know she's not technically a rock star, but like
she counts. She counts.
Yeah. And I've heard that she's just like, she likes to get wild and have fun, which is just like mind boggling to me when someone can be like so put together and so sweet and so successful and also so like, but also like totally be unbuttoned and stuff. So I would love to get drunk with Dolly Parton. I mean that would be incredible.
She's also like helping to save humanity right now, right?
I know.
It's amazing. Like she's so great.
Nothing about this year surprises me, and especially not the Dolly Parton being the one who developed the vaccine for COVID-19.
I love that Dolly Parton story, the Elvis story, when Elvis was going to play one of her songs, and they wanted to take all of her publishing for it, and she was like, "No, fuck you, I'm not going to do it."
Yeah,
like she's such a fucking badass. I love it.
Yeah, and I know like people who listen to this show are probably like, of course it's fucking Dolly Parton because Caitlin doesn't know anybody else, but I don't, and I don't care because she's the only one I need to know, and I stand by my choice.
No,
what about
amazing.
you? What about
Caitlin, just for those who don't know, but Caitlin didn't officially come on like as a hostess of the show until like about 10 episodes in, but she was like still like pretty much very active in all the episodes before then. But she was actually a guest on episode 2, and we talked about Dolly even all the way back then. Dolly has always been there with us. When there's only one footprints in this podcast, it was Dolly. Shit. God, not to like ride on yours, but like I do think that Keith Richards is a really good one. Like I've always been like a big Stones fan, like especially like certain albums like Sticky Fingers, like that just like have always been like iconic for me. And there's just something about that guy that like I've been always very I don't know, enamored by. And I do think that he hits like that perfect like level of like he's gonna have. I'd want to just hang out with anyone who I think is going to be like a good storyteller and it's just going to like want to actually like give out stories. And I think he's one of those guys where him and a couple other of like the elder statesmen, so to speak, because like Neil Young, I fucking love Neil Young. Like I praise his, from the highest mountains, but he is like a curmudgeon. He's not going to want to talk to me about stories. He's going to want to like fucking like tell me to piss off and go take a nap or something,
Yeah, I love Neil Young too, and I think that he's like one of the greatest songwriters of all time. But I think that he's not as fun as some other people.
Exactly.
Yeah, I got to say hello to Mick and Keith one time from like 10 feet away.
Whoa,
I went and listened to a tech rehearsal from the Stones on the Sony lot, and I got a chance to do a quick little wave hello to them from like a little bit away, and that was the closest that I got a chance to meet. I didn't really meet the Stones. I got like a Stones wave.
There you go. Close enough.
A stone's
throw.
Yeah.
A stone's throw, exactly, yes.
All right, we got another one for you.
Hi, this question is for Spencer Robinson. Which one is more correct? I couldn't care less, or I could care less. Which one of those is more correct and why? Justify your answers.
Interesting. Okay. It's for me. It's I could not care less. I couldn't care less because that is you're saying that it's something that you don't care about at all. So
Yeah, you have
answer
nothing.
justified.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you have nothing left inside you capable of caring anymore. Because
Yeah.
if you
Yeah.
could care less, that means you're like, well, I have something in me that makes me think I could care more about this situation.
Absolutely.
I feel like we did this one. We got this team.
Agreed.
Yeah. I like how whoever that was. I feel like they must be a teacher or something though, because at the end they threw in the justify your answer.
Really, I know. Yeah. Show your work. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll show it. Like, fine.
But thank you. Yeah. But thank you for that question because I do hate when people are like, I could care less. And I'm like, well, good. I'm glad you care.
Look, a lot of people do not know what words mean.
That's-
We have seen that in the White House for a long time now.
It's extremely true.
We got another one.
Hi, I got a question for Spencer Robinson. My question is, how do you handle your massive cock?
Well, Spencer, what do you say?
Very well, I guess. You know what I mean? You know, I deal with it as I can.
Kaylin, thoughts?
It just made me wish that earlier in the episode when we were talking about head injuries, someone had asked me how was my head now, and I could have said no complaints.
No complaints, nice. Classic.
And I just so all I thought when I heard that question was a missed opportunity for myself. And I don't have a cock, but in my experience, I have handled large cocks pretty well myself.
Yeah.
Eric, thoughts?
You know, a day planner helps, you know. All right. We also got some textual messageable ones. Someone wants to know, Spencer, what's the best California venue to play?
Best California venue. There's the Ventura Theater, which I played with the Cramps actually, the one Ventura County. That was
Nice.
a really amazing one. That one is probably my second favorite. But I got a chance on that same tour to open for the Cramps on Halloween at the Fillmore in San Francisco, and that
Nice.
was
Hollowed ground right there.
that was like like you get your own Fillmore poster,
Yeah.
the whole thing. Like I feel like that's probably a crowning achievement for California venues. For
Yeah.
me.
Oh, absolutely. That's probably my favorite. It's not. If I was to be truthful, it's not my favorite all-time venue, but it's definitely, if I was playing a show, that would be like my
It's cool.
all-time favorite in California.
I got a chance to see. I saw Radiohead play there once. That was really
shit.
cool. I saw Rancid with like AFI play there. Like I've seen some good shows there.
Oh,
over
that's
the
such
years.
like a
And
Bay Area show right there.
Yeah, it was cool. Like I've seen some good shows there.
Yeah. Awesome. Kaylin, do you have any sort of
Nice.
favorite California venues that you played, or the ones that you've just enjoyed going to?
I guess the Echo was my favorite place to play just because that was I remember going there before I ever played music and like wanting to be up on that stage, and so the first time I was up on that stage it was just like a big deal to me. So yeah.
I love the Echo. I had that same thing when I played the Troubadour. Because like
Oh, yeah.
I grew up in LA, so I didn't grow up going to the Fillmore. That was a place that I would have to be far away to go to. But the Troubadour I went to like all the time. So the
Mhm.
first time I played there, it was like a really big deal for me. Like I thought it was really cool.
Yeah.
I
And I just like the people that worked at the Echo were always very cool.
Amazing. Yeah, they're great.
I
Or
haven't
they were at least.
been there in a long time, and I don't know if it still exists, but I always enjoyed the aesthetic of the Terragram.
Mm-hmm.
That place,
Mhm.
I always for like that smaller, mid-size,
Yeah.
whatever you want to call it, LA venue. I always thought that place was really rad. And I don't even know if it still exists because the last time I was there was probably like 2014 or 15. But shouts out to you. Real quickly, I was trying to think of because I've been to so many shows because I am from the Bay Area. And I've been to a lot of Fillmore shows in my time. And one of the coolest actually I ever went to was Dave Chappelle doing stand-up for like 3 hours at the
That's cool.
Fillmore. And it wasn't for like a tape or anything like that. It was just him like doing his own thing. And I've been to a lot of comedy shows, and like he's really notorious for doing long ones, and so 3 hours is like a long time to be standing and watching and laughing. But he the whole crowd was like captivated the whole time. Like you felt
I
like
mean,
you
he's
were
a
watching a
genius.
fucking legend. Yeah,
I mean, he's a genius. He's really brilliant.
yeah.
Did you ever get a chance to go to Gilman Street?
Oh yeah, that was very first.
Gilman was great.
Gilman was no joke. Like I don't say this to like for any cool points, but that was like the first local or whatever you want to call it, like the first smaller like punk hardcore show I ever went to was at Gilman because my sister's boyfriend like asked my mom basically like he was a little bit older than myself and he was like, oh, can he come with me to the show? And I was like fucking only like 11 or 12 or something like that, and I still remember the lineup: All Bets Off and For the Crown. And it was fucking.
I went to Gilman.
incredible.
I had no money, so I had to sweep up afterwards to pay for my ticket.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
That-
they're to work, right?
Yeah.
And it was AFI and Screw 32.
Oh my god.
And it was like old school like East Bay hardcore band.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
That's wow. That just took me back, man.
Yeah.
Gosh, that place. Also that hollowed ground as well at the Gilman for sure. Like, and I've always very much respected the fact that it's like that's how they always did the shit. I would go there as a young kid, and like I would have to work the door in order to like see a free show and shit like that. But that's so rad. It was always like they really were like DIY in the best kind of way.
Amazing. Yeah, it was great.
I was about to play a voicemail, but I realized I got more of the text message ones. Okay, so what is your favorite 3 a.m. snack?
For me,
yeah,
this is gonna be weird, and you can, but I actually don't eat after 2 p.m. So it's nothing.
Whoa. So okay, hold on. I need a
My
breakdown.
favorite snack is just alcohol. Yeah, that's it.
I need a breakdown of your day like lineup for food. What's that look like then?
I eat breakfast.
At what time though?
7.
Okay. Light or
And then I
heavy? Light or heavy?
Light, really light.
Okay. I need to know this, Caitlin.
That's fine.
I'm enthralled.
And then I eat lunch.
Mm-hmm. And then what time are we talking? I need to know.
11:30, 12.
Okay.
And then that's it.
Damn.
Oh wow.
Do you go heavy on lunch or?
I mean, yeah, not heavy, but yeah, like I have like a regular human being normal lunch.
Damn, that's impressive. I guess I'll need like a snack like after 2 p.m. Like I'm not always hungry for lunch, but I do definitely like I'll have a snack or something at least.
Well, if you don't eat dinner by the next morning, you're fucking hungry. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's
shit.
it's time to eat. Yeah.
Yeah, I would be like so shaky and angry all the time.
I mean, I'm
Spencer's like,
shaking and
that's what
angry,
my.
but not because of that. I'm just shaking and angry.
He's like, that's what I run off of.
That might be why. I don't know.
What so what would be your go-to? What's like a decadent treat for yourself, snack-wise?
I mean, I don't snack all that often, but when I do, it's like, I mean, like a bag of potato chips. You know what I mean? Or you know, that kind of thing. Like I'm like a salty snack person.
Same here.
I think it's whiskey is the answer to this question.
Yeah.
But whiskey is like dinner. That's you know that's the dinner situation.
Kaylin, what about you? If you're waking up at 3 a.m. or you are up at 3 a.m., what's gonna be your go-to thing if you're like, I need to go in the kitchen and find something?
If I have gone to bed and I wake up and realize that I desperately need to eat or else I might die, I probably just like will make pasta or something easy like that and just like eat it in the dark.
Yeah, that's actually a common one for me, like a sort of like a carbonara sort of thing, where like a very like it'll be just like thin spaghetti with a little bit of oil on it and like shredded cheese like that. Just like
have to put calories in my body if I'm going to survive the night sort of thing. Or a grilled cheese. That's also a classic.
Yeah.
Today.
When you make a grilled cheese, do you put butter on the outside or mayonnaise?
Butter.
Gotta try mayonnaise.
Yeah, yes you do. That's the secret.
Absolutely.
Interesting.
Secret.
I heard that many years ago and I was like, fuck that, and I tried it and it was like it made a world of difference for sure.
Amazing. Yeah.
I bought like whole wheat hamburger buns this week because I was like, honestly, they just look good to snack on and they've been great. But today I really showed how little I respect myself right now because I just ate for a snack one of those, and I have been just like for a snack like sticking them in the toaster oven with some cheese. Today I just like raw dogged the fucking hamburger bun with a slice of cheddar cheese and just like ate that by itself, and I was like, I don't know if this is what people who like themselves do.
I mean, I gotta say, the fact that you put cheese on it is actually kind of that's kind of like more a little high class. Like that's kind of good, you know? Yeah, I respect it. I'm okay with that.
All right, good.
You know.
I keep wanting to immediately go to the voicemail ones. I will say for myself, if it's a late night sweet snack, it's just taking a couple bites of some Rocky Road ice cream or something like that, or Ben Jerry's. But just like a couple bites, like not taking it like to the bedroom or anything like that. Just like standing in front of the freezer for a moment.
You're not going home with her.
Exactly. Just teasing her a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, Spencer, do you have a favorite tuning and what string gauges do you use? And then they also said, what's your preferred capacitor value? Is that a fucking thing? I'm so bad with gear shit. Is
I
that
don't
a
know
thing?
what that last question is. I have no idea. I use standard tuning. I use open tunings now and then if I'm doing some slide stuff, like if I want to, but
Right, yeah.
I'll use open E just for the sake of making it easy on my brain. But I do standard. Like I'm not
Hell
like a
yeah.
guitar virtuoso person. Like I write dumb 3-chord, songs. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like I'm not Eddie Van Halen. I will never be Eddie Van Halen. It's
Well, you're on the right show.
yeah, it's
Yeah, no
fine.
shit.
It's fine.
What about your string gauges?
I literally have no idea. I
Do you
have no
go
idea what
do
string
you
gauge
go
I use.
I don't know the numbers, but do you go light or heavy?
I think I go middle of the road because I don't know what to use. So I look at what's available and go in the middle.
I
Yeah,
always
I
go with like
don't.
I find like the lightest, like if it says like, oh, we're the lightest, slinkiest, super lightweight, that's like my favorite. I like the lighter the better, in my opinion. I only because I fucking don't
For all those sick bends.
because I just don't feel like putting too much pressure on my hand. It's just a
On your
laziness
finger
thing.
pads?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I came up playing bass. I was a bass player first, so like playing guitar is really easy because playing bass is it's so much heavier on your hands.
Yeah.
So I
Absolutely.
feel like no strings are too heavy on the guitar because I'm so used to playing. I played a Thunderbird for many years, and it's like a big heavy bass. It's very long. It's like playing an airplane. So you know what I mean. It's like the guitar stuff is kind of a little easier on my hands than the bass was.
I feel that. Kaylin, do you know what do you go standard tuning?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I just really three things. One thing when you said when you said
Actually, four.
Thunderbird, I thought of the car and
Yes.
like
I play the car. I hold the car and I play it. That's what happens.
yeah, so I was imagining that, but also I have driven that like a 56 Thunderbird because it's in my Trouble music video, and like it is so hard to drive. So I feel like it's relatable to like playing the bass because it's like driving a really heavy bass where like there's no automatic steering,
Right.
and like as fun as I thought it was going to be to drive, it was actually just that terrifying and not fun. And the whole time I was like, I'm gonna crash this car that's been in like pristine condition for 70 years until it met me. And secondly, I really appreciate your answers to those questions because I just don't love talking about technical stuff about music. I'm all about like vibes and not so much about like how you get there, Just to me it's all like intuitive and shit.
Yeah.
And I'm not a gearhead, and I've gotten shit for that from one listener.
I mean,
Yeah.
I learned how to play bass by listening to Ramones records. So there's
Yeah.
no, there's no fucking finesse there. It's just playing, and that's it.
Yeah, and I think there's like really, there's a lot of different kinds of musicians, but I do think you can kind of like split them up somewhat, by two and into people who are like gearheads and people that are just like, what?
Yeah. I've been playing for 20 years, and to this day, their stuff like I know it's a word associated with it, and it's like it escapes me. Like I'll go to like a music shop and like be looking for something. And they'll be like, well, like, are you looking? Like they'll use the word like action, and I've never understood what the fuck that means in relation to guitars. Like they'll be like, well, the action on this one. I'm like, what does that mean? And like I get sustain a little. Like there's a lot of like these words I just never bothered. And then like the people really get into like frequencies and shit with their pedals, like it all escapes me. I didn't get into playing guitar to fucking take like math class and physics and shit like that.
I will say I kind of miss those trips to like Guitar Center, those really weird experiences there. It's like it's a weird place to go, and I kind of do miss that.
Yeah.
That was like always like I'd go with my best friend who also played guitar, and it was always one of those things like they would talk to us like so condescendingly.
Yeah.
We'd like cower, but then we'd like pick up the most expensive guitars and like turn the amps up like all the way high, like dime all the knobs basically. And just
It's funny if you go like I mean I haven't been there now in a couple years, but maybe like a couple years ago you can go there and plug in, and like I don't think anybody cares. I think you could sit there for 10 hours and just play it, and they literally do not give a fuck.
the last
It's like the massage chairs at Brookstone.
Yeah.
They do not care. Yeah, no one cares. They're not getting paid enough money to give two fucks about what you do. It's pretty great. You can try all those guitars that you can't really afford, that I can't afford.
Fuck
You know what I
no.
mean? And just
Yeah.
plug them in. Although I did walk into the last time I was there, which again was a long time ago. I walked into like the expensive guitar section where they
Mhm.
have like the Rickenbackers and the stuff that
Right.
costs like $3,000 and up, and they're actually locked to the wall and you can't get them off.
Ah, shit.
And they
That's
and
probably
they
good.
and they shame you if you're like, oh, what's this? They're like, no, that's not for you.
Yeah.
This is the nice guitar section. You're a dirtbag. You don't get one of these guitars. You're like, sorry.
That's when you want to do like your Julia Roberts and Pretty Woman thing,
Right,
where like
yeah.
you got signed to like Universal Records. The next day you walk in, you're like, you know, when you told me I couldn't fucking play that guitar, well, you're kind of half right, but I would have bought it anyway. So fuck you.
Yeah,
Big
what is
mistake.
it? Big mistake. Huge, right?
Yeah. You know, if you want that Guitar Center experience, it's too bad that you can't. It's like very hard to catfish on dating apps, I think, these days, just because you only get one IP address. But like I actually have taken guitars out of all of like any dating profile available on the internet because it ends up just being a Guitar Center situation where guys just message me and they're like, "Nice jazz master," and I'm like, "It's a Mustang."
My
but
name
I
is
also don't-
Caitlin. I'm not a jazz master.
like yeah, but like I also don't want to talk about this right now,
Yeah.
you know, like that's not flirting. That feels like a very weird technical conversation. But I get that the approach is for me to be like, oh, wow, you know, like cool, let's talk about gear, I guess. I don't know. I do apologize to whoever asked this question because they're probably like, you assholes. But also
No,
for
it
the
just
last
we're
thing they
not the
said,
ones.
isn't a capacitor like what is in Back to the Future?
That's the flux capacitor, and they
It
said
is, yes, correct.
the capacitor value or something. I truly do not. It's something I do not know. Like I said, but I'm also not a gearhead. I don't know these things. I just never investigated this stuff. So I apologize, listener, if you were seeking counsel on these things. It's not you. It's all right to be a gearhead. We are just, we're three non-gearheads.
We're not gearheads. Yeah.
But if I could choose a capacitor, I'm just going to assume that this is a time travel question. I would go back to 2005
Stop.
and make some different choices there.
Stop yourself from going on that date with that guy.
I will not elaborate further.
I was just going to say real quick, the last time I went to a Guitar Center, which was also many years ago because there's not one in the town that I live in now, but it was like a nightmare. Like 5 million different like people in different sections playing guitars at varying levels, and like, a dad doing a blues scale, a kid playing like power chords, like a guitar solo. It's so chaotic.
And there's always one guy in the bass section, just one guy playing
Yeah.
bass. That's it. The one bass guy. That's
Kind of like they always put at least in the one near in Concord, California, it was like the fucking bass section was like, so it was like a shameful section. They literally there was no light over there. It was quite literally dimly lit in the corner of the bass section. It was like, fuck you guys. Like,
You know, it's funny because I was thinking about it while you guys were talking, and I was like, I went to Guitar Center during COVID, and I was thinking, like, was that a pleasant experience? Because it was nice because I walked in the store, got what I wanted, and then walked out. But they still
not even
managed
paying?
to. I never paid Guitar Center. Girls don't pay there. No, I'm just kidding. And they still managed to make it a nightmare because I think they told me my order was ready like a day before it was, and then like I like went to the store and they didn't have it. Like it was still like a nightmare. But even though when I walked in, it was like serene and peaceful, and no one was touching instruments.
I like
So I
that
don't
actually, yeah. Real quickly before we go to the next question, I wanted to ask you, Spencer, and I apologize if you had actually mentioned this already when you were talking to Caitlin at least. But before the show, like I was kind of saying, you guys were talking about musicals, and you asked her what her favorite one was. What is your favorite musical?
I mean, look, I think Book of Mormon is the funniest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I know that it's not like a classic Broadway musical, but I've never laughed that hard in my entire life. So it's Book of Mormon. Like
It's
Oh, wow.
it's kind of
fucking
becoming
hilarious.
one, actually. I mean, it's been around for at least a decade at this point.
I
And
think so, yeah.
a lot of Josh Gad, Andrew Renalis, like a lot of like famous, like a lot of people are like, it's become like a really like, hip thing to like get your start from, the same way that
I mean,
the
it's really
Hamilton is.
good. It's fucking funny. Like it's funny as shit. So
I saw it in 2013 at the Orpheum Theater in San Francisco, and I remember laughing my ass off. I went with my sister; she got it for me as a Christmas present. But I cannot remember a single fucking part of that Is it a play? What do they call that? Yeah, they call that play, right?
It's a play.
What do they? Is that? Am I?
Show, musical.
Show, yeah. Well, I started to say play, and I was like, is that what like children do?
Capacitor.
What's the difference between like a play and a musical?
It's a play capacitor, I think. That's what they call it.
Yeah. A play in general, a play is just it's like not with the music, or
Gotcha.
it could have. No, it doesn't have music, or it could have like background music, but not like a score
Gotcha.
or like But I actually haven't seen or listened to Hamilton or Book of Mormon, making me like the worst theater nerd of all time.
I saw Hamilton. I'm just gonna say this. I went in I'm not gonna lie, and it's not because like I'm contrarian or too cool for school or anything like that, but I went in thinking it was gonna be kind of dumb. I thought it was gonna be like some guy being like, "My name's Thomas Jefferson, and I'm here to say I'm from the U.S. of A." or something. I thought it was gonna be like that level. It was very artful. It was very beautiful. I just personally could not get into it though, and it wasn't that. Like it was astoundingly better than like the stupid shit I thought it was gonna be. But for whatever reason, I just like could not like. I did not fall in love with it the way that like every person has, and I can't. I don't know why, but like for a reason, it just like did not rub off on me.
I think the other. I only saw the movie, but never the play. Is Hedwig is really cool too. Hedwig is just fucking awesome. That one's great.
I did. God, I guess I've been to a lot of musicals. I saw Hedwig a few years back with Darren Criss played the lead role, and he did a fucking incredible job. It was really good. I highly recommend. And the movie is fucking great too. Yeah,
the movie's amazing. Yeah, those songs are so fucking cool.
Yeah. Caitlin, you said yours off air, but what is your favorite?
Well, I said I loved the musical Chess, but I mean that's not something that's ever really been staged, and it's certainly not like a mainstream musical. I just am obsessed. It's really funny, and I mean part of this isn't funny, but anytime I'm like blackout drunk, I'll wake up and like whoever I was hanging out with, my last YouTube thing will be I'll show them this one song from that musical, and it's Tommy Corbett singing Anthem, this song called Anthem, and it's like about like just how stupid patriotism is basically, because like we're all just humans that live on land and you can't like own land, but it's like the Russian chess player version of the Colors of the Wind basically. And for some reason I'm obsessed with this song to the degree that like as soon as I'm like unconscious, I'm just like whoever I'm with has to listen to it like 3 times, and I apologize to anyone I've ever done that to, but also I don't apologize, and everyone should look it up, and I know nobody's gonna do that. But I loved Hades Town. My brother was a producer on that, and I saw that a few years ago, or last year, feels like a few years ago. I got to see Wicked when that first came on Broadway, and I remember that like was huge.
It's really good.
Yeah, that Defying Gravity song, man, that's a fucking bop right there.
Ooh, chills. Yeah, that was like Idina Menzel's big debut, and Kristen Chenoweth as well. They both became huge stars from that.
Did you see?
Did you just smack yourself in the face?
No. Did you guys ever see when John Travolta like was calling her up to the stage and he like fucked her? He pulled like an Eric.
Oh no! I remember what it was. If you don't remember it,
yes, please do. What was it?
What he said was coming. In her name, of course, is Idina Menzel. The name was, he said, coming to the stage, the wickedly talented Adele Dazeem. I will never forget that. Never forget that.
He thought he nailed that.
Fucking amazing. I mean, they have a teleprompter, so he didn't nail it, but he didn't nail it while reading it. Like, what the fuck? It's amazing.
James Thunderbolt, thank you very much for this esteemed honor.
Honestly, I laugh, but like I feel what Travolta has gone through, as Caitlin can attest to.
Oh, absolutely! You're like the first person whose name that I think Eric has like correctly pronounced. But he also said it 10 times in a row when he first came on the show. But usually he'll like 5 times before the show he'll be like, I just want to check. I just want to make sure. And then he'll like try so hard, and then he'll say the wrong thing.
But what was funny about Travolta is like it wasn't like that I don't think he realized. I don't think he realized he fucked. Like he really he just was like all gun. He like said it. Like,
he went for it.
The fact that it was Travolta made it all the better. Like
it's really great. The other one I love. I remember I was watching the Oscar announcements of the nominations one morning, one year when they were announcing who was nominated, and there's a cinematographer named Dick Pope.
Okay.
And the woman said, for best cinematography, Dick Poop. And I fell over just fucking laughing. I mean, like, it's so stupid, and I laughed so fucking hard. It was amazing.
It's funny to imagine, like, that he probably got called out a lot as a kid, and then he
Absolutely.
goes on to become like a professional cinematographer, and he's just like, this will show those fucking kids in the 4th grade class, and like this is his big moment, and then like it all comes back, like the trauma all unfolds once again.
Poor Dick Poop.
Oh shit. Real quick.
Do we have more voicemails?
No, but we got.
Okay, I was just making sure.
Real quick, I was gonna say my personal favorite musical is whatever, maybe a cliche thing or like a stupid thing to say, but Rocky Horror Picture, man, I fucking love that shit so much. And every year that like I watch it in some way or listen to the soundtrack, I fucking love the songs even more. They're so campy and they're so awesome. Like the Meatloaf song, Hopatootie, is like, oh, that's like an all-time fucking song.
I think that's probably the best. That one and Time Warp were probably the best songs in the musical. I mean, those are the two.
Those two, and I always say this, but I fucking love Science Fiction Double Feature, the opening song. It sounds like a David Bowie song. I always say this, but I'm like, that could have been like on one of Bowie's like first albums. Like it's just kind of like that weird freak folks, like late 60s, early 70s sound to it. It's the lyrics, I love that just like as a nod. Like, I mean, it lays out the whole plot basically, and it like gives all these nods to like all the stuff you're about to see and like all the old timey sci-fi shit. It's like based on, I love it. It's like, it was so brilliant in my opinion that he did that. Anywho, last question before we get on to games. It's a perfect question actually. The person wanted to know if you were gifted a bat for Christmas or for the holidays, what would you name it?
A bat?
A bat, yeah.
Like a baseball bat or a vampire bat?
Like a bat, like just a winged bat, a rodent with wings.
You know what? You could go with like the vampire-y name, but I think that the funniest name to name something is the name Gary.
That's good.
It's just the funniest name, and my father is named Gary, so like I feel like
Gary
like to
Robinson.
be fair, but like the name Gary, like looking at a baby and naming it Gary, looking at an animal naming it Gary, there's nothing not funny about that.
That is cute.
I do like when babies
or not
have,
cute.
like,
It's funny. Never mind. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I always think it's funny when like babies have like names for men who are like in their 50s and up, like Harold and shit like that. Like
I heard an interview with Elton John about a week ago, and he was talking, his name is Reginald, and he was saying like, how do you name a baby Reginald? What a fucking weird name. Like, it's amazing. I love that.
Kaylin, do you have a name for your bat?
I've always thought if I ever got a black cat, I would want to name it Zodiac because I just think that's a really cute name for a black cat.
Zodiac
so I
for
feel
a
like
bat.
I think that would be cute for a bat as well, which by the way, that's what I was thinking of when we were talking about Gary, which is why I told Gary cute, even though it's weird to think of Gary as a cute name.
It's a weird name. But
Yeah.
Zodiac's a good name. It's very mysterious.
Yeah. I like for cats too because like they're like serial killers,
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
they're sneaky.
They're sneaky.
And like Zodiac killer.
And they like write letters to the local newspaper. With, like,
Yeah, they're always cutting out newspaper clippings and like making like ransom notes with them.
I do like the idea of a cat taking credit that way for all the birds that it kills. Like like I fucked this pigeon up, and here's the fucking
They lay it out for
letter to
you.
prove it.
They're not like writing from it, but they like it's there waiting for you the next day, like a newspaper is. Like, shit, Caitlin, you really tapped into something here.
I can respect that. I gotta say, the Zodiac killer of cats. I respect it. I gotta say.
They're like mailing feathers to the police department.
Shouts out! I just rewatched the David Fincher movie again, the Zodiac movie. Oh, I fucking love that movie. It's so good.
Yeah,
So it's
very scary.
It's very when he's down in that basement with like that old dude. He's gonna show him like the film reels. And then he hears like the walking above. That scene was done very effectively. I get chills even just talking about it right now. God damn. Anywho,
what about you? What's your bat name?
I would name it Murph 2. Caitlin, I sent you a quiz for tonight.
Yeah, I got it.
I guess you got pulled up. All right, perfect. Because for the listener at home, just in case you didn't already pick it up, but Spencer is in a band called the Wolf Spiders. Spencer Robinson and the Wolf Spiders. So, Caitlin, what quiz are we doing tonight?
We are doing What Kind of Demon Wolf Are You?
It's a good one.
Yeah.
Developed by Arctic demon wolf in May of this year, May 16th this year. So a recent quiz. Um, and their description is you feel weird. You feel out. You are evil. Evil emoji. Devil emoji thing. And you probably am proud of it. But what kind of demon wolf are you? Are you Arctic demon wolf like me? So we're gonna find out. Okay, here we go. I think someone in the government wrote this quiz. Question number 1. So, comma, multiple paragraph markers. Hi! Exclamation point. Your response is, hey, hi, yo, get out of my face, or hi.
You're asking me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My response is hey.
Okay.
All right. Nice.
I'm gonna go with hey.
Great. Number 2. Which of the following do you like? If there is not one, pick the nearest. 1. Killing. I don't know my spot. I am a lone wolf. More and no trees, and it's more like MOOR.
Okay.
3. Trees and lots of trees. 4. I would not be a demon wolf. Ooh, that's breaking the first rule of personality quizzes.
Yeah.
Or question 5. The brutal wind ruffling my fur.
Wow. What was the first one again? Killing?
Yeah.
I'm gonna take killing. I think that this year calls for that. It's killing.
Certainly.
Okay. Question 3. Another wolf is in your territory. You attack, climb up a tree to ambush, rip out the wolf, kill, exclamation point, or I'm not there.
I like the ambush part of that. I think the ambush one is good.
Okay. Eric, did you screen this quiz by any chance?
Absolutely not. I saw that first question. I was like, "This looks terrible," and I like immediately sent it.
It's worse than you imagined. All right. So the 4th question is just you ... That's the whole question.
Okay.
One of those.
And then the first answer is squirrel emoji, squirrels, mice, mouse emoji. That's Eric's answer.
Absolutely.
2, nothing. I hate this quiz. 3, small animals. 4, eat water voles. Any meat emoji you find. When you lucky, plover, you share polar bears.
One of them was small animals, right?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say small animals because I think that they're cute. I guess that's fine.
Okay.
Hell yeah, they are.
Great. And like every personality quiz, we do have a color question. So color question mark. Creamy white, browns and grays, normal human colors like pink, gray, or red it's blood.
I have a comment before I answer. I like the normal human color is pink is a very racist. I'm just gonna throw it out there. I'm not gonna pick that one. And I think no one wants brown anything. I mean, come on, it's brown, right? I'm gonna go with the red one, even blood or not blood, because black wasn't an option. Obviously, like black is black, but I'm gonna go with red because the rest of it seems either poop related or racist. I guess I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like someone was just like slamming nitrous when they wrote this quiz. Okay. You want question 6 is just you want to have wings.
We're only at
And
6. Christ.
And out of 10, we're almost there. Out of so your response is no, yes, duh, rolling eyes emoji. Yeah, easy to find prey. 4 is maybe I don't know with all the trees. Or 5, yes.
The yes duh one. I'm gonna do the duh one. And
Okay.
they're rolling the eyes because I like rolling the eyes. That's good.
Okay, and there is, I wish I could share this graphic with you guys, but there is a depiction of a wolf with beautiful dark angel wings, and it also has horns and a really big fat like crocodile tail with what looks like a fingernail at the end.
It's a very
So,
complicated creature.
yeah. All right. Number 7. It just says
Just-
it just says immortal.
Ow, I
Answers
keep
are
fucking my side up.
no, 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 go, dude,
Mm.
good, maybe, or yep.
No, no, no. Come on, no. Too much.
I agree.
It's too much.
Whenever there's like a villain or like something, whenever like there's like a great epic story and like everyone wants to be immortal, I'm just like, who needs
Yeah.
it?
No, it's too much. It's enough. It's enough.
All right.
Would you go? What about
Eight-
like a 200-year thing? Like if you were offered that in a movie sort of thing, where it's like the witch is offering you 200 years, would you go with that?
I mean, we have like 80 to 100. That seems like enough.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
I'm at 32. I'm tapped right now.
It's a lot.
No, I am exhausted. Girl or boy? Girl question mark. Boy all caps. Boy regular. Girl regular or boy?
Oh boy.
I guess I'm just gonna say boy because I don't understand the question. And
Was it boy all caps or one of the regular boys?
no regular boy? I'm not that fancy. All caps is a little much.
Now,
Come on.
regular boy 1 or regular boy 2?
Is there more than one?
There it is.
I'm gonna say 2.
All right. Thank you,
Good
Eric,
choice.
for choosing this quiz.
Oh, you're welcome.
Cats or dogs? No. Dog? Wolf or dog? None. Or cats run fast. I admire them.
I
Shit.
mean, I'm gonna say dog. I'll leave it at that.
All right. And our last question.
I'm also
What-
I'm very allergic to cats too. So like it's not a good scene.
Mm. So you hope they're running away from you.
That's correct.
Was the quiz helpful? Yo. Y-O. Yep. Maybe. No, no, no. Or meh, no.
I mean, I'm gonna say yo because I don't know what that means, so I'm gonna say yo.
Okay.
Absolutely yo.
Wait, Spence, you didn't find this? You didn't find it very helpful?
Yo.
Nice.
All right. So we have your answers calculated. So you are super evil.
Oh,
Your soul
shit.
is black. You are, of course, a boy and have super unnatural evil.
Damn.
I'll take it. I'm fine with that.
Alrighty.
Accepted. Thank you.
You're welcome. What was the name of the person who? Oh, you're probably already exited out, but we see you, Wolfman. Jack.
It was Arctic Wolf. Oh, Arctic Demon Wolf.
I like when you see like a true, not like the ironic ones, when you see like a true like wolf shirt in the wild. Someone just like wearing one of those like ones where there's like 3 wolves and a moon.
I respect it.
Yeah. So
I'm just imagining like Mitch McConnell like typing this in his office, like sipping a whiskey. Yeah.
that fucking slippery piece of shit. Anywho,
Yeah.
wow, Spencer, what an incredible evening.
What a journey we've all been
wow,
on.
I really, yeah.
Spencer-
It's been wild.
Spencer, a new question I've been asking is, what did we learn this evening? What did you learn?
I learned that some wolves have wings.
Yeah.
Which I think is really important to learn.
Yo.
Yeah.
And I learned and I learned that there are several different kinds of boys with all lowercase letters. So yeah, that's good. Good stuff.
Yeah. And that I there was no non-binary option in that quiz. So Arctic Demon Wolf, you got to step up your game. It's
Yeah,
2020.
Really?
Step
Come
that
on.
pussy up.
Get it together. Jesus Christ.
What about you, Caitlin? What did you learn?
Oh gosh. I learned we didn't even talk about the poker player stuff, but I did learn
Oh my
that
gosh.
that
Hold
it was
on.
before the show.
Hold on. We got 5 minutes to spare. I do want to quickly ask about this. Spencer,
This is the epilogue.
take the lead. Tell us what you were telling us before the show.
So yeah, when years ago I was a professional blackjack player. I was a professional card counter. Right. If anybody has seen the movie 21 or read the book Bringing Down the House about the MIT blackjack team, I was on an offshoot of that team for 3 years. It's how I made my living playing music. I would go to, all over the US and put on disguises and play blackjack and count cards and win a bunch of money and then go to the next town and do it again. And that's how I made my money for 3 years while I played music.
That's fucking insane. What are your thoughts, first of all, on the movie Rounders?
Rounders is poker, but it's a great movie. It's
Oh,
not,
you're right.
but it's great. I love Rounders. It's one of the better gambling movies. And I think that poker's more exciting to watch than blackjack. So that's what it's it's a good movie. It's great.
How long did it take you to develop the skills that eventually to the point where you felt comfortable going into these situations to bring home
Well,
money?
so I was on the biggest blackjack team in the country. I had to pass a test to get on the team,
Damn,
and it took.
that's
I
crazy.
trained for 3 months before I was able to go to Vegas to take the test, and I failed the test for 3 days before I finally passed.
But
And then we went out and won $70,000 in the
Yeah.
first session that I played.
damn, where like what did you always like the game and it just was skills that you kept like developing, or was this something that like happened like in really rapid time for yourself?
Yes and yes. I always liked the game, but I didn't know how to count cards. I had a neighbor when I was in my early 20s that was on the biggest blackjack team in the country, and he trained me.
Mm.
He's like, you want to learn how to count cards? I'll show you how to do it. And it's just math. I mean, it's it's statistics, it's mathematics. It's the game itself is one thing, and learning how to play the game is fine. But then you learn how to actually beat the game.
Right. I could never. So I
I
would
loved
never.
it. It was great. I mean, like we had $1 million bankroll for a weekend in Vegas.
Holy
So like
shit.
we were,
Oh,
yeah,
that's
we're
dope.
yeah. So like we were playing and winning and losing large amounts of money, more winning than losing. But yeah.
So why are you not there right now doing it?
So what happened was I was playing music and playing blackjack, and it got to the point that they were getting better at catching people, and it's not illegal, but they kick you out for doing it, right? They
Yeah.
can't arrest you because you've not broken the law, right? But they can ask you to leave because they have the right to refuse service, right?
Right.
Mhm.
So it went from we would play for 13 or 14 hours straight to I'd walk into a casino and they'd be like, Spencer, no, you're leaving.
Spencer,
You know what
no.
I mean? And yeah, so like it got to the point that we were getting thrown out so fast, we couldn't play at that big level anymore. We couldn't go into Las Vegas with 40 people, which we were doing,
Holy
and
and
shit.
blasting
Yeah.
away for a weekend and winning like $400,000 in a weekend or whatever it was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's what we just couldn't do at that level anymore. So they folded the blackjack team. It was like we could still count cards, we just can't do what we're doing now.
Mhm.
And so I needed a job, and I went and got the job that I have now because I didn't have my own huge bank. You need a really big bankroll, like like I said, we had $1 million bankroll to play. You need a lot
Right.
of cash on hand to be able to play. Just that's the way the mathematics work for it. So I didn't have that kind of cash, so I needed a real job.
When you would go on tour, would you like stop into like little rinky dink casinos on the road and just like go in and just like kind of like have a night because they
It's
like
a good
didn't know you
question.
there?
The only reason why I didn't is because almost all of my touring was in Europe, and I did not know the laws there.
Ah, shit. Some
So like
casino
I went to,
royale shit.
yeah, I walked into a casino in France and I realized I'm like I don't really know if they can arrest me or kill me. I'm not gonna do it. I'm
That's
not gonna.
smart.
Yeah, you
How
don't want to go to French jail, at least from what I've seen in Catch Me If You Can, the movie.
Yeah, it looks very bad.
uh,
I feel like it's got to smell worse than American jail.
yeah.
All that wine and cheese.
All the baguettes that they make the sell out of.
I just imagine them like putting wine and cheese in every cell.
I mean,
maybe
you
that's the
should.
best jail.
Yeah, it sounds like
I was gonna say
a
that.
great jail. Like maybe France jail's where we all want to be.
Mildly racist. No, what I was gonna ask is, how like if you go into not like Vegas, but if like you go into like just a standard California casino, how long does it take for them to detect that? Out of curiosity, like how long?
It
do they
really
pick up
depends.
on?
I've played for 13 or 14 hours straight with no attention at all, and I've been kicked out walking up to a table literally before I even make a bet.
Do they?
So it really depends.
Are there ticks or like what sets it off? Like out of curiosity, like what did you learn? What did they teach you would set the table off, or like the pit boss or whoever it is that catches that?
Well, look, if you're playing alone, without going into a whole long thing about how
Yeah.
it works, because it can be kind of boring. Like playing on a team, the way that it works is like if I walk into a casino and I bet $25, 25, 25, two hands of 10,000, like I'm getting kicked out.
Right,
Nobody
yeah.
plays like that. It's unnatural. You've seen a casino, no one does that.
Right.
So the way that team play works is you have like 5 people at different tables betting 25, and when they get and they're counting, and when they get a count, they use signals to call in somebody else who comes in seemingly out of nowhere, and you don't openly associate, and that person comes in with $100,000 in their pocket, and they're the ones making the big bets. So that works for a long time. Now, the more you do that, if someone's looking for it and they're like, wait, whenever that person's at the table, this person comes in. If you're looking for it, eventually you will figure it out, which is why we would sub out the counters every few hours. So you get new people in there coming in, and you try to mix it up. If you're playing alone and you're spreading your bets a lot, that's a big giveaway. So
Gotcha.
Yeah, you have to do a lot of things to throw them off, which is just part of learning how to do it.
Do you have like a love of the game itself to the point where like you would like have fun like going by yourself and like being like, I'm not going to like do anything crazy, but I'm going to like try to attempt to just like win like a few hundred or $1,000?
Yes, I do. I love the game. I think it's a great game. Part of the reason why I think it's a great game though is that it's mathematically beatable. That's one of the fun things about it. So I cannot go to a casino and not count. I have to count cards if I'm playing.
Right.
But I don't have $300,000 or whatever laying around in cash. So I'm not going to bet like that. But I will adhere to the count. If the count gets bad, I'll stop playing and go to a different table or whatever it is. But that's fun. I mean, you're walking into a situation where more than everybody else that's doing it, and like there's a certain kind of like charm in that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Having more information than everybody else.
Once COVID's done, I'm coming down. We're going. You're taking me because I really want to.
I will take you. It's fun. It's really.
It's the only game
fun.
I've ever made like gone to a casino and like made like a decent amount on. But I did not do it by counting cards in this. I mean, I tried to like be a little bit aware of like what I knew was like on the table and stuff like that, but not
without being totally dorky about it, because it's like like I'm a math geek and that's why I love that kind of thing. But if when you go to the gift shop and they have those little cards that have like the basic strategy of what the right and wrong move is to make.
Yeah.
If you follow that, your disadvantage is only about 0.5%. So it's a really small, so like it's almost 50-50 playing blackjack. It's one of the better games you can play. So if you follow those rules, you actually are, expected to come out a little less than even. So if you win, it's just a little bit of luck. So it's not the worst game to play. Like it's not as bad as playing like roulette or playing a slot machine.
Now, do you? That was gonna be my kind of one to cap it. I was gonna ask, like, do you have like, if you're just going to Vegas and you're just having fun and you're not like, can you pull yourself away from the blackjack table to go do something else, or do you just like not like any other game?
No, I can't. Look, if I'm betting small amounts of money and I know that it's just for fun, I think like roulette, I think your disadvantage is 4%, which is like a very high for a table game.
Yeah.
At roulette, so it's a shitty game to play, but it's so much fucking fun.
Yeah.
And it's so stupid, and people yell and scream, and you make a bunch of bets at once. So I love that game because it's so dumb and like fun to play, and it's more of like a group activity.
That's what I was gonna say, like the roulette, the craps. Like I like the group ones where everyone's just kind of the communal ones for sure.
Right. Yeah, I love that.
Especially now in COVID. Give me a craps table.
Yeah.
Like that alone, I'm like, oh, that sounds so charming to be at right now. That's like where I'm at.
At one point, we had, on our team we had like a small group of new players that were really young, and so which meant that their faces were all fresh and they'd never been kicked out before. Because I got to the point that I was being kicked out of casinos like every 2 weeks, right? So we were taking these fresh players out that had all very clean faces. So I would sit at the roulette table and throw signals back and forth to make sure that everything got done.
Oh.
But I got a real love for roulette, sitting at the roulette table for 10 or 12 hours at a time.
Yeah, because you had to just kind of post up.
I loved it. It was great.
Do you? Sorry, not to keep driving this out, but now
No,
I'm
fine.
so curious.
Eric mentally is like already, he's like walking out to like the fountains of the Bellagio with his hands in his pockets and just like winking at you.
Yeah.
Like
For Elise is playing silently. Actually, what I was going to ask is just when you get kicked out, do they still allow you to cash out first, or do you get like just like straight kicked to the
They do.
curb?
So basically, again, it's called being backed off. That's what being kicked out is called, right?
Uh-huh.
And there are various levels of being backed off. Everything from, look, you can hang out, you can go to the bar, but no more 21. That's what they'll say. So
Okay.
like they're letting you know that they know and like you're done playing blackjack.
Gotcha.
But they also know you're going to leave because you're there to make money. You're not there to hang out. I've also
Like,
been
all right, going straight to the bar.
Yeah. I've also been surrounded by 8 security guards that try to force me in the back room at Caesars in Vegas. You know what I mean?
Jesus.
So there's various levels of that.
Mhm.
Now, all that being said, they actually legally cannot stop you from cashing out because you've not broken the law. The money is yours, so they have to let you cash out. Where they get you is if they want to get your ID from you and I don't want to give it, I can't go to the cage because then they'll say ask for his ID. So then I cannot cash out. I have to go back later and do it another time.
Gotcha.
But yeah, they cannot stop you from cashing out because it's legally your money.
wow.
Kaylin, thoughts?
I thought it was illegal, so this is all just new
Yeah.
world to me.
I thought it was
I'm
too.
not-
I thought it was 100% illegal.
Mm-mm.
Which that
Yeah,
does
I'm-
make sense now.
I'm
that I
like-
think about it.
Not a gambler at all. I remember when I first learned what poker was, I was in like 5th grade and I like started a poker ring at my school, not knowing that it was like that like gambling had like any sort of stigma around it. And I like got suspended because we were using real money and I was
That's
cleaning
Good for
awesome.
up.
you.
Yeah.
Good for
And
you.
then-
That's great.
But then since then, I think that just permanently traumatized me for gambling because I haven't really gambled since then, and now I just feel dumb at a cards table, and I have no patience for the strategy at all. Also, I just I feel like if I'm gonna lose a bunch of money, I'd rather get some stupid shit out of it, like a new pair of shoes or
But
or
see, if
massage
you
or
learn when you learn how to count cards, you're winning a bunch of money, and then it's way more fun.
Then there's
I'm
way
sh-
more
yeah.
shoes.
Yeah, but then you're counting.
It is that is true. I mean, look, I've walked through the airport with $100,000 in my pocket and just hope that they didn't search me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a bunch of weird shit like that, which makes it even it's so silly, but it's so much fun.
Yeah, that sounds like the coolest part.
What's
It was the best part.
Do you have a favorite Vegas movie?
Vegas movie?
Yeah, you're leaving Las Vegas.
I mean, yeah. I mean,
Most
I don't know.
depressing
There's
one.
I mean, I think as far as gambling movies go, I think Rounders is a really great gambling movie. I do love
It is.
that.
Oh man,
Yeah, it's really good.
yeah, I'm bummed it had nothing to do with what you talked about because
I love poker too. I'm just not as good at it. You know. What I
no,
mean?
it's all right. You already broke my heart twice.
I
tonight.
was playing poker once at a casino in Vegas years after I stopped playing on the blackjack team, and they kicked me out because they recognized who I was at that casino years later, and they threw me out for playing poker.
I like it.
Your photos on the wall like a restaurant
Yeah.
that you walked out on.
Actually,
No.
that's exactly what would happen. I played once. I won $40,000 once at a casino, and I paid for 6-7 hours, and it was all well and good and fine. The last few minutes I was there, I could tell they weren't thrilled with me. So we got out. I won a bunch of money. It was all fine. And the next day, some more team members went back to play the same casino, and they were like, "There's a big picture this big of your face." like from the security camera with the words "No 21" all over the pit. So yeah,
Shit.
they do exactly that. Yeah.
Damn.
That's some fucking crazy shit, man. I love it. We're gonna. I'm telling you, man. I'm full on. I'm coming down there. We're doing this one time, and then we'll do a follow-up episode about it because
All right. I'm down for it.
But that is all the time we got for this evening. Spencer, I had a fucking hell of a time. That was very fun. Do you want to tell the people where they can find your music at?
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. And look, I have two bands. My post-punk band is Black Market Heart.
Yes.
My kind of Nick Cave, weird, whatever, alt folk, fucking weird band is the Wolf Spiders, and it's Spotify and everywhere else, and
Bandcamp.
all the platforms that you always find music on. They're all there.
Yeah, we'll post up Bandcamp links because we want you to, get the people directly to you.
Thank you. So much fun, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you.
Caitlin, before we say goodnight, was there anything you need to plug or anything?
Yeah, so we actually recorded a new hardcore healing episode, and that is another podcast that I have with my co-host Neil Lockwood. We are both massage therapists, and we talk about different radical healing modalities from around the world and throughout history. And this most recent and we've been taking a bit of a break, but I really wanted to address just because of there's been a huge rise in opioid overdoses since March, since the beginning of COVID. And so I wanted to just sort of address that. And we discussed the drug ibogaine, which is an African root, and it's known as the most powerful psychedelic in the world. And it's also Schedule 1 in the United States, even though it is the only proven addiction interrupter for opioid withdrawals. So it will basically, if you take this drug while you're tripping, you will basically come out the other end of that trip with no withdrawals from opioid use, which is just unheard of. And the only reason it's Schedule 1 is just a fucking mystery because it's not addictive and it has medical properties, and it's not dangerous unless you have a pre-existing heart condition. So it's just another bullshit thing that our Drug Enforcement Administration has done to the people. And so, yeah, you can listen to that. Basically,
don't give away all the details. Save some.
Hardcore Healing is now presented basically under the Goth Yearbook umbrella. So we're happy to all be part of the same family, and go ahead and check that out as well.
Yep. And as we said at the top of the show, please hit up the link tree. There still is a couple hours, and you can always donate afterwards. But Food for Thought, Sonoma County, Dining In for Life. Please help fill up the pantry for those who are in need during what is probably one of the most historically worst months, in a long ass time. So there's a lot of people out there that are in need in Sonoma County, and there's a lot of organizations that unfortunately do not cover the umbrella of everyone. So this is one that does. And of course, if you're on that link tree, you can always also hit up the Patreon, patreon.com/Goth Yearbook After Hours. Spencer Robinson, one more time, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Caitlin, as always, thank you for being the co-host of the Mohos. I'm going to say goodnight, guys.
Good night.
Bye, guys.
Bye.